Hey guys, this video is brought to you today by the Sharp app. Download the Sharp app today in the App Store for free. All right, today's lesson is going to be about the spread and what the spread is. If you are new to sports betting, you may have heard the term spread but aren't quite sure just how the spread works. Let me just start by saying the most common way to bet on sports, certainly in North America, is the spread. So North American sports like American football and basketball, the NBA, college basketball, we will be betting with the spread probably 90% of the time. So when you hear things like that team was favored by 7 points, they're referring to the spread. So let's kind of dive into the spread. I'm going to show you an example of games that are actually upcoming tonight as I broadcast this or as I record it. And you'll get an idea of exactly how the spread works, and we'll go over it in detail. All right, guys, now up on my screen is an example of a NBA slate that is happening tonight. And we are looking, what we're interested here is the first column where it says point spread. So as you can see on the extreme left-hand side, we've got the teams. The first two teams to go are the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves with a 4:40 p.m. start time. The spread is 9.5. Now, we see a minus 9.5 point spread next to the Milwaukee Bucks. And then we see a plus 9.5 point spread next to the Minnesota Timberwolves. What does that mean? What it means is if you are betting against the spread, you are taking the Milwaukee Bucks, if you are betting the Bucks, to win this game by more than 9.5 points. That means they must win this game by at least 10 points. If they win the game by less than 10 points or lose the game outright, you will lose a bet on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, conversely, if you are betting the Timberwolves on the spread line, which is plus 9.5, you need them to keep this game to within 9.5 points. So if they win the game outright or lose this game by less than 10 points, you will win that bet. It is as simple as that. So that is a spread, and you can look down the list here. We've got the Brooklyn Nets against the Sixers. Brooklyn getting 8.5 points. The Sixers are minus 8.5 points. So that game needs to stay. If you take the Brooklyn Nets, that game needs to stay within 8.5 points, or they must win the game outright for you to win. If you bet on the Sixers, they must win that game by at least 9 points. So hopefully that makes sense to you. You will now see a number next to that spread, and in most circumstances, most instances, you're seeing that number as minus 110. What does that mean? So for every $100 you want to win, you need to risk $110. That's what the minus 110 means. The minus means you are paying 110. These numbers are always based off of 100. So if you're planning to bet, if you want to be a $10 bettor, you're going to have to divide that number by 10, and you will be betting $11 to win 10. If you wanted to win $1,000 on this game, you would have to bet $1,100 in order to win 1,000. So hopefully that makes sense, and you can just do the math there. It's easily divisible. What this does is cause you to have to win this game or win over time at a 52.4% clip in order to make money, or greater than 52.4%. You must play at a 52.4% win rate in order to break even. And I'm going to put the math on that in the description below. You should have a good understanding of what this point spread is. When you hear the point spread being talked about on TV, you should now know that if a team is the favorite, they're the team that has the minus number next to them. The favorite is always the minus team, minus 9.5. That means they're better than the other team, or at least that's what the market expects. The Timberwolves, if you hear underdog, are going to be a plus. So when we're just talking about the point spread, the underdog is always getting points, and the favorite is always giving points. You'll hear terms like laying points, giving points. You'll hear underdog getting points. So the easy way now to figure out if you won or lost this game is to just after the game is final is to figure out the differential between the two scores. If a team wins, if let's say the Bucks win this game 120 to 110, we will see a 10-point differential. So you could either just subtract 9.5 points from the 120, which would give the Bucks a 110.5 to 110 score, which means they win that game. Or we could add 9.5 points to the Timberwolves score, which would mean 120 to 119.5. And again, the Bucks would win this game by a half point. Or what most people do is just figure out what that differential is. It was a 10-point differential. The Bucks are laying 9.5, and thus they win the game. So hopefully you have a good understanding now of what a point spread is. And look for the video on Moneyline, and we'll get into more detail about that minus 110 in this game.